fans will be very familiar with the Klingon Bird of Prey. This particular model or design first made its debut in The Search for Spock and went on to feature in another 4 cinema feature films and many appearances in the episodes of The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Now, I've personally always been a huge fan of many of the spaceships that we see in the Star Trek universe, especially from this period, whose designs are so sleek and elegant and just really quite inspiring. But of all of these ship designs, the one that has most caught my imagination and fascination across the years has been the Klingon Bird of Prey. I've always loved its colouring and the fact that it can change its wingspan and that it's so predatory and threatening. There's just something very cool about this ship. And so when Diamond Select Toys announced that they were doing a Klingon Bird of Prey as part of their Starship Legends line, I was over the moon. And today I'm going to take an up close and personal look at this model. And like the other ships in this line, it is of course electronic with lights and sounds. And I should point out that this particular version is General Chang's Klingon Bird of Prey from the Undiscovered Country. So starting with the packaging, this is quite a big bulky box. So if you are planning to have this on display, you're going to have to make sure that you leave plenty of room because it is going to fill that space pretty quickly. But I have to say it is eminently displayable. It's got a very nice layout in terms of its overall design. Of course, we have the Star Trek logo, we have that star field and the blue and the black clouds, which looks pretty nice, but that is really very small in the grand scheme of this because as we can see, the window display here is the be-all and end-all of this packaging, and we have the Klingon Bird of Prey in a sort of bird's eye view position, which looks very cool, and the interior inlay is a bright yellow design, so it contrasts really nice against the blue and the green of the model and really helps it pop and look really impressive. The side panel, sadly, is a bit of a missed opportunity. It is a huge space that is rather blandly decorated. We do have the Star Trek insignia there and some information about the model itself and its features, but other than that, it's a little bit boring. But they definitely make up for this with the reverse of the packaging, which I think looks fantastic. It is, again, that blue sort of star field on the reverse of the packaging for the general design and branding, but we have up front and centre there a really nice, crisp image photograph of the model, which looks absolutely brilliant. And again, this looks very displayable and very presentable for your shelves. When you remove the vehicle from its packaging, it is all in one piece, it is fully assembled, there is no assembly required, you don't have to stick on any stickers or anything like that, it is all fully ready to go, and yes, it is just as good as it looks in the box. The shape, design, colouring all looks really authentic to what we see on screen, and I think they've done a really nice job of rendering it into this model form. It does come with its own display stand, which I'm really pleased to say is actually in the shape of the Klingon symbol, the Klingon insignia of the Klingon Empire, which is a really cool touch. I really like that they've gone to that effort. And at the top of the stand there is a peg, which just slides very neatly into the bottom of the Klingon Bird of Prey to hold it in place. And it is a very secure fitting, which is fantastic. There's no danger that the ship is going to slide off or fall over. Now, the sculpting for this vehicle is absolutely fantastic. I think Diamond Select have done a really fantastic job of capturing all the little details that we can see on the model itself. I think it's brilliant. There's lots of little rivets, grooves, panels, and all sorts of little bits and pieces, which are just very nicely sculpted. And of course, the whole model is moulded in that light green plastic, which then has some complementary shading running through the overall sculpt, so we get some areas of a black wash running through just to make it look a bit more lived in, a bit more worn, a bit more authentic and realistic, which is absolutely fantastic. So really nice to see them capitalising on the sculpt to really draw out some of those fantastic details and features. And whilst we're talking about the paint apps, you'll notice there are areas of a lighter green that's just been shaded in the odd place here and there to, again, just really accentuate the colouring on this vehicle and make it really eye-catching, and again giving it that sense of authenticity to what we see on screen, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. There's also areas of metallic silver, particularly on the wing arches, which looks really good, makes it look like a proper metal, makes it again look very realistic, which is fantastic, makes it look like a real vehicle, like this is something we would see in space, which is really cool. And then throughout the top of the vehicle we have a very subtle application of red paint here and there used very sparingly to, again, just draw the eye, just give it a little bit more visual interest. There's the small logo of the Klingon insignia, which is really cool. And then underneath, of course, on the base of the wings, we have that fantastic, much brighter sort of mauve colour, which looks absolutely glorious. And I think they've just done a fantastic job here. So, of course, when the wings are fully arched up, we get a really fantastic display, a really brilliant flash of red there, which looks really cool. Now, it's quite unusual to talk about articulation in one of these starships, but the wings do move, which is brilliant. It can assume 3 different positions. It does, of course, have the basic at-ease position with the wings down. The wings can then be positioned at a parallel level, as if they're bracing for an attack. And then finally, the wings can be moved up into that final attack position. I was initially very hesitant when it came to moving these wings. I was really scared that I might snap something or break something off, but I have to say it's very robust and it's very easy. There's very little resistance, it's quite a smooth motion, and this design works very, very well. And I have to say, as a fan, it's a very, very welcome one. It means there are many, many different positions you can put this Klingon Bird of Prey in, and it always looks dynamic, interesting, visually arresting, and it just means there's a lot of dynamic possibilities for display. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter what position you put it in or how you pose it, it is always going to look really, really cool. And once again, this is definitely capitalising on the fantastic sculpt, the wonderful paint applications, and then having this extra articulation in there just goes above and beyond and just makes this a really visually interesting and really fantastic model to have on your display. And as if that was enough, of course, we also have lights and sounds.
I can see you, Kirk. Can you see me? Cry havoc, and let's slip the dogs of war.
And that is just a selection of the sounds and lights that we can see on this vehicle. Needless to say then, I absolutely love this model. I think they've done a fantastic job with it. The moulding and the sculpting is pitch perfect, the colouring is very beautifully applied, there's absolutely tons of little details, and they've capitalised on all those details with the fantastic paint applications. I really love that the wings are articulated so we can have these various different positions of attack, which is fantastic. And then ultimately we have those wonderful lights and sounds as well. So for me, that's just the icing on the cake. This is a pretty fantastic model all in all, and I really can't think of anything to criticize about it. I just think it's wonderful, it looks great on display, and if you're a fan, you're gonna want one. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and remember to subscribe as there'll be plenty more videos soon.